Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the UKG debate. Starting late than usual, was still preparing for this live because there are a lot of things we need to discuss. It's no secret that Manchester United need to buy midfielders, need to do a midfield rebuild, need to do a midfield overhaul. And today we are going to look at the targets, the numbers, the statistics, who's the right fit, who's going to partner Kobbie, who's going to replace Ugarte and Casemiro, or Casemiro and Ugarte. Is Ugarte going to stay? Is he the right fit? Should we keep him? We are going to run through the numbers and, as usual, get involved in the comment section below. Karibuni sana. My name is Simon, aka Simoninski, and it's good to be back live. I have been missing in action for a couple of days. Well, a tough day at the office the last 2 days, as well as over the weekend. I was out both days, coming back home late, and I wasn't able to come live. But today we are live. We are going to still have the midweek debate, and today we are going to discuss about midfield targets. And yeah, as you can see, I've already started with mistakes because I was supposed to start with welcome, not just chatting. But yeah, let's just jump straight into it. I want to see whether I can fit everything in 1 hour because there is a lot to discuss. If we can't be able to finish this today or within 1 hour, then we can break the debate into 2 segments, part 1 and part 2. Because today I want us to look at midfield targets. United have been linked with a host of names. Among those names are Elliot Anderson, Carlos Baleba. We have Tonali as well as Bruno Guimarães. A lot of news about Bruno Guimarães. A couple of journalists have come out to say that nope, there is nothing concrete happening. It's just United making inquiries. And sometime this evening, early this evening, I've seen reports that Bruno Guimarães will be okay joining United, will be okay staying. Of course, we know Sandro Tonali and his agents are looking for a move away from Newcastle, owing to the fact that Newcastle are not performing well, and it looks like they won't be in Champions League next season. So, yeah, United might be in for him, as well as Elliot Anderson. Reports are starting to come out that United are losing hope, but we'll still look at the numbers. We'll still look whether he's a good replacement for Casemiro or he's a good fit for the United midfield. We'll also look at who's the best partner for Kobbie Mainoo, the star boy Kobbie Mainoo. So what I want to say, I'll give a disclaimer for this show, because I know a lot of United fans tend to get edgy, tend to become agitated a bit, or agitated when you mention certain players, for example, Kobbie Mainoo. So hold it. Let's just have an objective discussion. We are looking at numbers. We look at Kobbie Mainoo's strengths and weaknesses, and who among those targets will be best to play with him if United decide to go for one, or if United decide to go for 2 or 3 midfielders. What will happen to Kobbie? Does he sit on the bench? Does he start? The new players start on the bench. What happens? We basically we are going to look at the best midfield combination when it comes to the targets, as well as having Kobbie Mainoo on in the club, as well as Ugarte. What if United decide to keep Ugarte? Is he going to have a good partnership with the likes of Anderson, with the likes of Baleba, Tonali, or Guimarães? We are going to look at all that. As I said, it's a lot. I basically took almost the whole day. That's why I'm also late starting this show, trying to crunch the numbers, trying to look for profiles, trying to understand the player profiles, the statistics, as well as look at the stats and an naked eye view of what all this entails, So I did some digging. I went to sites like FortMob, Who Scored, Premier League site, as well as other statistics sites to check on the numbers. And it's interesting because Actually, United are doing a good job in terms of data-driven scouting. Having a look at those numbers, having a look at those names, you sort of understand why United are going for those players, the 5 players I mentioned. Anderson, Tonali, no, it's 4. Anderson, Tonali, Baleba, and Guimarães. It makes sense. Unfortunately, for a player like Baleba, he hasn't featured a lot this season because he had a couple of substitution appearances. He did not start at the start of the season, as well as he missed out of the Premier League because of AFCON. But I decided, let me have a look at his numbers. Probably there's something into it. There's a reason why United are still interested in him. They still regard him as a top target, and he's attainable, and he wants the move. So I decided to compare those names because those are the names that have been heavily linked to United, as well as the assumption here is United are going for Premier League experience first. And if they miss out on Premier League experience, then they are going for foreign-based players, that is players that play in other leagues, not in England. So get involved in the comment section below. It's a debate. It's a debate. I'm going to air my views. You need to air your views. And I've also posted a poll on our YouTube channel asking which midfielder would you prefer? Elliot Anderson, Carlos Baleba, Sandro Tonali, or Bruno Guimarães. So I've posted that poll on our YouTube channel. So guys on TikTok, guys on Kick, Facebook, as well as guys already on YouTube, please make sure you get involved in that poll. So first things first, we know United are targeting a couple of midfielders, as I've mentioned. We all know the names. But now the question is, who are they? What are they all about? So we are going to we are going to look at the midfielders, their profiles, and what they are all about. What they do, their numbers, basically their profiles, and then we start comparing the 4 of them. We look at, so stage 1 will be looking at their bios, their biographies, bio data. Then we move to comparing the 4 midfielders. The next stage will be which midfielder would be a perfect replacement for Casemiro. And then we move to which midfielder would pair well with Kobbie Mainoo. So I hope I'll be able to fit all that in 1 hour. I hope. Thanks for the comments. I'm already seeing comments. Shadonal, big up. You're saying, good evening, UKG. Hope you had a lovely weekend. And everything is going on well. Yeah, everything is going on well. I had an eventful weekend. Actually, on Monday, I was pretty tired. I wasn't feeling quite well. But yeah, I'm back. Yeah, so make sure you also share the live. It's a very, very good live you're going to have. So let me just start by looking at the players that have been linked to United. Let me first share this. So the first player that has been linked to United is Elliot Anderson. Elliot Anderson is a player that a lot of fans have been wanting United to sign. And what's going on here? Oh, sorry, I didn't bring up the correct one. So Elliot Anderson is a player that a lot of fans want to see at United, want to see him in a United shirt and playing for United. And Elliot Anderson, now these are the stats as well as the player bio, the stats for this season. He has 31 appearances. He has 4 GAs, that is 2 goals and 2 assists. And based on the Who Scored rating, I mentioned that I did some digging on data. I used the Premier League website. I used FortMob as well as Who Scored to make sure that the statistics are correct, the data is correct. So in case you do find mistakes, bear with me. It was a lot. There were a lot of data sets. So Elliot Anderson, of course, he has the shirt number 8, which currently Bruno has. I'm not sure whether that will be an issue in case he decides to sign for United, but it looks like he's going to City and United are giving up, as you can see on the ticker news at the bottom. He plays for Nottingham Forest, obviously. The best positions, he's the positions he can play. I was actually surprised that he can play as a left winger or a left midfielder. So in a 4-2-3-1, in a 4-3-3, in a 4-4-2, he can play on the left. But his primary position is a CDM and then a center mid and a left wing. So his best performances have come from him playing as a CDM. So as we are looking at these bios, the first position you see is the position that the player mostly plays, as well as the best performances have come from. So he's 23 years old. He's very young. He hasn't gotten to his prime, and he's 176 centimeters. So the other player that has been linked to United, another player you'll be looking at, is Carlos Baleba. Carlos Baleba hasn't had a good season. As you can see, the rating there, it's 6.26 based on who scored ratings. His shirt number is 17. Primarily plays as a CDM, although he can play as a center mid and surprisingly as a center back. As I said, I was shocked that Elliot Anderson can play as a left wing. I was also shocked when I looked at the player profile and Baleba can play as a center back. That's good versatility, you know. He can play multiple positions. Tonali, you're saying you think Elliot Anderson will join City. I hope he doesn't. So Baleba is 22, 1 year younger than Elliot Anderson, and he's the same height as Elliot Anderson, 176 centimeters. The other midfielder linked to United is Sandro Tonali. Sandro Tonali has had 29 appearances, 2 GAs. One thing I forgot to mention before we go to Tonali is Baleba has had 25 appearances, that is starting and, of course, coming off the bench, and he has 0 goals, 0 assists. So as you can see there, the basic stats are not looking good for him because he has a poor rating, he hasn't contributed any goals, and he hasn't scored any goals. Now you look at Tonali, the next midfielder we'll be looking at. He has 29 appearances so far, 2 assists, no goals this season, and then he has a rating of 6.58. So based on ratings, he's second last, and that is based on who scored ratings. I checked ratings on FOTMob and who scored, and FOTMob, I realized that they are rating them higher, so I decided to go with who scored because based on reputation, who scored have a higher reputation than FOTMob. The current position, his primary position is a center mid. I remember I was in one live a few days ago, and I was telling guys on that live, on a TikTok live, that Tonali is not primarily a CDM. He's a CM. Yes, he can play as a CDM, but primarily he's a CM. He's at the age of 25. He's at his prime, and he has a height of 181 centimeters. So he's slightly taller than Baleba and Elliot Anderson. The last midfielder that United are heavily linked to is Bruno Guimarães, Bruno G. He has 23 appearances. Currently, he's injured. I'm not sure whether he's back. He was injured. He did not feature in the United game. He has the highest GA compared to the other 4. He has 13 goals and assists. He has 9 goals and 4 assists. And he has a rating of 7.20. He wears the number 39. His primary position is also CM, but he can play as a CDM. And most of the time at Newcastle, you see him swapping positions with Tonali. Sometimes Tonali is a CDM. The other time Bruno Guimarães is a CDM. And they also keep switching positions because also Joe Linton, there's a time you'll find him playing as a CDM. So Newcastle have a way of rotating their midfield. You can't really identify who's the CDM. Although when lining up, Tonali is the one that lines up on paper as a CDM. He's at the age of 28, which is a point of concern for a lot of fans. They are saying by the time United sign him, This year, November, he'll be 29. So they don't want to have a repeat of Casemiro. So concerns are valid. There is no point of not of denying it. The concerns are valid, you know. He's the tallest of the four. Um, sorry. He's the tallest of the four at 182 centimeters. So those are the four midfielders that we'll be looking at, and we'll be discussing about who's the right fit. So the next bit of business is comparing those players. And asking ourselves who is the right fit for the player, for United, and also to pair with either Ugarte or pairing with either Kobbie. So let me see whether we have some comments before we continue. Atonga, you're asking who's press resistant. So hold that question because we are going to that next. We are going to look at who's press resistant. We are going to look at the numbers and we'll compare all of them. I have my notes ready. I'm really excited for this. So the next bit is we are going to look at the defensive stats, comparing the defensive statistics for each player. And Atonga, I'm going to answer your question as I go through the notes. So you look at, let me now bring this comparison. There you go. So you look at these defensive stats, Premier League defensive statistics for 2025-2026. So the numbers are there in terms of age, in terms of appearances, in terms of minutes played. So some appearances are 90 minutes starting, others are substituting as a substitution. They come on as a sub. Sometimes they are substituted off. So you can look at the numbers there in terms of minutes. The one who has played the most minutes is Elliot Anderson. He's been quite reliable. He's played a lot of games, as you can see, 31. Basically, he has played all games. He hasn't missed a game in the season. Baleba has missed quite a lot. He's the lowest in terms of minutes. Tonali as well as Guimarães, relatively available throughout the season. So when it comes to availability, you can see the numbers there. Guimarães has missed because of injuries. Tonali as well. Baleba, we know, of course, he was not available during AFCON, and at the start of the season, most of the games he was starting off the bench, as well as some he didn't play at all. So you look at the defensive contributions. Elliot Anderson has 172 compared to Baleba 78, Tonali's 88, and Guimarães 92. So he contributes more defensively. You can look at the number of tackles. That relates well to the contribution, defensive contribution. So defensive contribution involves being in the right position, tackles, everything that entails defensively being available, providing cover for your midfield, winning the ball back, winning aerial duels, ground duels, winning tackles, and all that. So Elliot Anderson has contributed more in terms of defensive aspect. He has 172. He's top of that list, followed by Guimarães. They are close to each other. You look at contributions and tackles, you look at both of them. Guimarães is a close second. You look at duels won, it shows you how Elliot Anderson wants to get involved on the ball. He wants to go in, get the ball, and play. He's an elite in terms of duels won, and these are ground duels. You look at Baleba, he has 70. His numbers are very low. Of course, he has played less games, less minutes, but 70, it's still good enough. Tonali has 90, Guimarães has 126. So if you come to rankings, we'll go to that section of rankings. You see basically it's starting to form itself. Elliot Anderson is at the top, followed by Guimarães, Tonali, then Baleba at the bottom of the list. In terms of interceptions, someone who can read the game, like Casemiro does very well. Casemiro is one of the elite CDMs in terms of reading the game and having those interceptions. So Elliot Anderson has 34. Baleba has 24, which is very, very low. But if you look at Guimarães, he has even lower numbers at 12. So you start seeing a difference between a 23-year-old Elliot Anderson who has more than double, almost triple the number of interceptions that Guimarães has. So that tells you that Elliot Anderson reads the game well, and he's good defensively. Guimarães was at his peak at 28 years old. Then you look at Tonali, 26. But also, as I said, if you look at how Newcastle plays, the midfield three keep rotating. So you look at Guimarães, you look at Tonali, you look at Joelinton, they have similar numbers in terms of duels won and interceptions because they cover up for each other. So probably if Guimarães goes to a formation or a system like Elliot Anderson has or Casemiro has, he might have more numbers, more interceptions compared to the others, or compared to what he has at the moment. So Wharton, I didn't do a comparison about Wharton because most of the links to Adam Wharton have died. I picked the players that are constantly linked with United. So Adam Wharton, the links have died and have been rubbished over time. So Adam Wharton, he's linked to United, but not as strong as compared to these four. So you taking the same numbers and looking at them per 90, looking at the numbers per 90 minutes, basically per 90 minutes. More or less the same. So 5.58 for Elliot Anderson compared to 5.45 for Baleba, 3.87 and 4.10 per 90. So that tells you that Elliot Anderson has 5 interceptions per game. Also, Baleba does well per 90. He also has similar numbers. But you look at Guimarães and Tonali, they have fewer interceptions, contributions, sorry. You look at tackles. So Elliot Anderson has two, let's say roughly 3 tackles per game compared to the rest. You look at also Guimarães, he has 2 tackles. But for Elliot Anderson, rounding off, you can say it's 3. But the rest have 1 and 1. Baleba, you can say 2. Duels won 8.24. And then you look at the interceptions, 1.10. So the numbers are really good for Elliot Anderson. That already shows you that he's an elite CDM/CM. And he will be a good fit for United based on how United play, considering that Bruno Guimarães and Kobbie Mainoo does not have the legs to cover a lot of defensive ground. So you need someone like Elliot Anderson. And we're also going to see whether him and Kobbie can complement each other. We're going to look at that. For Carlos Baleba at 22, he's also doing pretty well, considering that he's young, he hasn't reached his prime, he hasn't had a lot of games this season, a lot of minutes. He's also doing pretty well. Tonali, duels at 3.96 and interceptions at 1, more or less similar to Carlos Baleba, but my concern is at 25, at his prime, are they good numbers? But as I said, they keep covering for each other with Guimarães and Joelinton. So as you can see, Joelinton there, Guimarães there has 5.62, which is very, very good. That means he tackles a lot. He's not afraid to jump into a tackle to get stuck in for the tackle. So interceptions pretty low, pretty low, 0.54 compared to the rest. So Baleba has more interceptions per 90. He has the highest based on per 90 statistics. So that's it for the defensive part. So already you can see those numbers. It can tell you, let me just bring them back. The numbers can tell you in a game, who can you depend on? One of the things that United have been missing a lot is having someone who can cover defensive ground, someone who can do the donkey work in that midfield. United have a lot of creative midfielders. Kobbie Mainoo is more creative than being defensive. Yes, he can mature. He's 20. He will mature. Probably is an aspect of his game that he will continue getting. So looking at those numbers per 90, you can pretty much see who personally I'm inclined to going for. I'm inclined to paying top dollar for. So the next bit is to go to possession-based stats. Because as a midfielder, you are required to defend, you are required to also contribute in terms of possession, progressive play, and all that. So you look at the possession stats for this season, comparing the four as well. So you look at successful passes. Elliot Anderson has 85.8. He has 1,717 successful passes at a completion rate of 85.8. That's elite level. That's elite level. You look at also Baleba, he's not doing bad. He has had fewer passes, 479, but his efficiency is at 85.7. You look at Tonali. Tonali is low because he is at 64.9. Oh, am I seeing my own things? Let me confirm because it's a bit squished. Let me see. Let me zoom in because it's a bit squished. Sorry, he has 84.9, not 64. He has completed 1,060 passes. That's a high number. An efficiency of 84.9. You look at Guimarães. Guimarães has 1,016 passes, 18 passes, sorry. And he has a completion rate of 86.5. So he's the most efficient when it comes to his passes. Completion rate of 86.5 is elite level. That's when I was checking the numbers, he's among the 90 plus percentile category. So when you look at someone who can complete passes in midfield, you're looking at Elliot Anderson, you're looking at Guimarães, number one, Elliot Anderson, number two, looking at Baleba, number three, and then you're looking at Sandro Tonali, number four. So in terms of passing completion, they are reliable. Their efficiency is really, really top notch. You can't really say that they are not good passers of the ball. So you look at the number of touches they've had, you look at the numbers there, they can tell you who wants to get involved more in terms of coordinating play. Elliot Anderson with 2,780 touches, that tells you he's someone who wants to get involved with the ball. For example, how we used to see Paul Scholes drop deep, try to get the pass, switch play, trying to come closer for a 1-2. So Elliot Anderson does that well. Even with the naked eye, you can see he wants to get involved with the ball if you watch the Nottingham Forest games. Baleba has had fewer touches, but when I was looking at his touches, you look at the number of dribbles he has. He has completed 9 dribbles, 52.9. Baleba is someone who likes carrying the ball a lot. He likes taking the ball from deep, moving with it 20, 30 yards before making a pass. So if you're looking for a ball carrier, Baleba will be a good fit in that sense. But he's not quite involved in terms of influencing play, in terms of controlling midfield. You can't compare him. He's nowhere close to Elliot Anderson. Sandro Tonali, he has 1,638 touches. He's also someone who wants to get involved in midfield, as well as Guimarães, who is at 1,633. So again, the Newcastle numbers, the two players at Newcastle, you see their numbers, they're almost similar because, as I say, they keep switching, covering each other and switching positions in that midfield three. You look at the number of times they've been dispossessed, losing the ball. How many times they've gotten the ball, a tackle comes in, they lose the ball. So Elliot Anderson has 49, which relates more to the number of touches and the number of dribbles. You look at a player who wants to get involved more with the ball, obviously there's a high probability, there's a high chance they'll keep losing the ball. Similar to Bruno. Bruno wants to have more the ball and he keeps losing the ball. Although this season, since Carrick came in, he has improved in terms of his ball retention. So you look at Baleba, he's been dispossessed 13 times, Tonali 17 times, Guimarães 33 times. So Guimarães has had less touches. He has had less dribbles compared to Elliot Anderson, but he's been possessed 33 times. So that tells you either he likes holding on to the ball a bit too much, or he's taking risks with the ball, which is not a bad thing. So you look at Elliot Anderson, you look at Guimarães. These are players that try to influence midfield. They try to influence the midfield. So let me see whether we have some comments before we go to the PAN 90 stats. El Madrigal, I'll say again, Wharton is not on the list because the links have died down. So I've taken the 4 players that have a lot of links, a lot of concrete links. The Adam Wharton news has faded down a bit. He has not been on the news a lot. In fact, if you just do a simple Google search of the midfield targets and you read the news, these are the 4 names that have been heavily linked to United. So the Adam Wharton news have faded down. That's why I didn't do a comparison for him. So I've answered the Adam Wharton news a couple of times now. So Premium Life, you're saying please add still on the list for me, unless I do that next time, because this is a lot of work. Creating this is a lot of work. Digging and having this took a lot of work. So I can do another Morton. I can do the rest of the players that have been linked to United. When we started the show, I said I've picked PL proven players based on Manchester United's MO, and I've picked players that have been heavily linked with United. So you look at Wharton, you look at Steeler, they've not really been heavily linked, but I can do a comparison for them. So assumption, number 1, heavily linked with United. Number 2, PL proven players that Ineos they are using that sort of framework, that sort of scouting. They want PL proven players, and these are the players that have been linked heavily to United. So guys, I know there are a lot of players we can do profiles on, but I decided to do this for first based on the links and based on how heavily linked they are to United, because the news is revolving around this for quite a lot. So going to PAR 90 stats. If we go to PAR 90 stats, you'll start seeing similar numbers to the entire season. So PAR 90 passes 55.7. As I said, Elliot Anderson is someone who wants to control midfield, who loves controlling the midfield. You look at the numbers as well. Tonali wants to get involved more at that place. Guimarães, similar, but Baleba, not so much. But for Baleba, we can understand because he's played less minutes, he's played less games, he's missed out on AFCON. So the numbers might not be reflective of his profile based on how things have gone on this season. Touches, as you can see, 90 for Elliot Anderson, 72.09 and 72.83 for Tonali and Guimarães. These are people who want to get involved more in midfield, and sort of profile United need. They need someone who is an engine, someone who is available, someone who wants the ball, someone who wants to play the ball, who wants to link up play. So you look at their touches, that can tell you a lot. In terms of dribble, I didn't expect much. Dribbles, I didn't expect much. But Elliot Anderson attempts at least 1 dribble per game. We know that Baleba also likes to dribble, likes to carry the ball. However, Tonali and Guimarães, not so much. What we've seen with Newcastle, if you watch the Newcastle games, they tend to win the ball and quickly pass to the forward 3 so that they can do their stuff, they can go create. In terms of dispossession, of course, with Elliot Anderson trying to build up play, trying to possess, trying to link up play, trying to possess, trying to have some ball carries, of course, he will lose the ball, similar to Guimarães. So Elliot Anderson and Guimarães, as I said, United have a very good spot scouting framework system. Because you look at those names, the fact that United are losing hope on Elliot Anderson and they are going for Guimarães, they are going for the next best thing. They are going for the next best thing. So those are the stats per 90. So Baleba, of course, dispossessed close to 1 every 90. Tonali, not so much. So that tells you that Tonali, in terms of him getting the ball and him completing a pass, he is efficient among the 3. He does not really get tackled. So at Tonga, you asked some of the players or which player is press resistant. Tonali is one of them. Tonali, under pressure, he can be able to still keep the ball and find a pass. as well as the way I've seen Tonali play, looking at his profile while looking at these stats, he seems to be a player who wants to release the ball quicker. So in terms of transition, the way United play transitional football, Tonali will be a perfect fit. So as you can see, all these profiles, they have good things, they also have trade-offs. So for example, if you take Tonali because he's good in transitional football, you also have to consider things like number of passes he does. You have to also consider in terms of the number of touches. So when you look at the number of touches, he's third best compared to Elliot Anderson and Guimarães. But if you go for Elliot Anderson and you go for Guimarães, it means that the next person, the pairing has to be right. That person has to cover. For example, you look at Elliot Anderson, he has Sangare. Sangare is also good at covering. He has good interceptions, he has good tackles, he reads the game well. So whenever Elliot Anderson loses the ball or he's not in a good position to intercept or he mistimes an interception, Sangare is there to cover for him. So when you look at those players, you look at that. Now we'll get to the next part once we do the attacking bit of this segment. Would Kobbie Mainoo be a right fit, a right pairing with any of these? Or do United go for any of these two and probably have Kobbie as an understudy for Bruno? Because Kobbie, we look at his numbers. He's not elite in terms of being a number 10, but in terms of interlinking play, he's one of the elites at 20 years old. Yeah. So going to the attacking stats, it starts to get a bit interesting. Because Bruno Guimarães has the most GAs. He has 9 goals, 4 assists. So you're looking at a midfielder who controls play as well as contributes in terms of goals and assists. You look at expected assists and expected goals. I think I swapped the two. Apologies for that. It should be XGXA, not XAXG. My apologies for that. Let me see whether I can fix it. Let me see whether I can fix it right now. It should be XGXA, not XAXG. Yeah. So when you look at expected goals and assists, so let me start with Elliot Anderson first. So 4 GAs, 2 goals, 2 assists. Baleba 0, hasn't done much this season. Tonali hasn't scored, has only created 2 assists. But you look at Guimarães in terms of him being a box-to-box, him being available in the opponent box or closer to or in the final third to provide that additional goal and assists, he's above levels. Look at the numbers. When you look at long balls, no, sorry, I skipped XG. So XG, expected goals and expected assists. So Elliot Anderson has 2.49 expected goals. That is the whole season. We are going to look at per 90. And then he has an expected assist of 3.51. Baleba, once again, the lowest numbers, 0.53, 0.31. Tonali, 1.56, 2.37. So that's how it is. He has an XG of 1. And in terms of chance creation or XA, it's 2.37. In Guimarães, the numbers are way above. He's doubling XG, expected goals, for Elliot Anderson. So when you look at those numbers, you look at his defensive, you look at his defensive stats, you look at his possession stats, you look at his goal contribution stats, attacking stats. He's a complete midfielder. You're getting the whole package. You're getting someone who can defend, someone who can pass, and someone who can score, more or less a perfect Casemiro replacement. But you look at also Elliot Anderson at the age of 23, he hasn't reached his prime, but his numbers are closer to Guimarães compared to the rest. So you look at the number of long balls each player has done, that it can be switching play, it can be a long ball forward. based on how United play. That's why I selected that statistics. Based on how United play in terms of transitional football, Elliot Anderson has completed 106 long balls and an efficiency of 56.1. So the volume is 106, the efficiency is 56.1. Carlos Baleba fewer, 23. As I mentioned, Carlos Baleba likes carrying the ball. He likes dribbling past players. He has less long balls. If you've watched Baleba play, he rarely pings those balls. He's more of a ball carrier. He reminds me of Anderson, the Manchester United Anderson. Anderson rarely had long balls. He used to carry, then pass. Similar to the likes of Jason Park, Fletcher, they used to do that. You look at Tonali, 60 long balls, lower than 100, with a 50% efficiency. So if he takes 10 long kicks, 10 long balls, half of them will get to the destination. You look at Guimarães, 66, with a very high efficiency of 60.6. So for every 10 long balls he kicks, if it's a long pass, it's a cross, anything that is of that distance, I can't remember what the distance is. If you give him 10 long kicks, 10 long balls, he will complete 6, compared to Anderson's 5, compared to Baleba's 5, compared to Tonali's 5. So he's really good in terms of long balls. So in terms of transitional play, as I said, Bruno Guimarães is a complete midfielder. You look at crosses, of course, Elliot Anderson tries more of the crosses, and crosses might also come down to tactics. For example, Brighton don't play a lot of crosses. And of course, Baleba has not played a lot of games. So Elliot Anderson has 43 completion rate or an efficiency of 27.4. Tonali 17, 21.2 is not really good at crossing. And then you look at Guimarães, similar, 17 crosses completed, efficiency of 27.4. So pretty much same numbers for Elliot Anderson and Guimarães, but Elliot Anderson tries more crosses compared to the rest. So per 90, how do they match up? So per 90, you see GAs, of course, 0.6, 0.6, 2, similar numbers, 0.6. Expected, again, I need to change this. It's supposed to be XG, XA, not XA, XG. Sorry for that, guys. So Elliot Anderson, in terms of expected goals and expected assists, per 90, there are fewer compared to Guimarães. Baleba, the lowest numbers. Tonali, at least, is doing better. You look at the number of crosses, similar, as I said. Elliot Anderson tries more crosses compared to the rest. In terms of long balls, as you can see again, Elliot Anderson tries to ping those long balls more than the other players. So you see that it's a really, really tight race. It's a really, really tight race between Guimarães and Elliot Anderson. While I was looking at these numbers, Elliot Anderson is the player to go for. But if you miss out on him, the next best thing is Guimarães. Despite his age, despite the reservation on his age, despite reservation on him being injury prone, as some fans are pointing out, he's the next best thing. Because I've seen fans argue Tonali over Guimarães, Tonali over Elliot Anderson. Most of the fans have already written off Baleba. Rightfully so. He's last in all the statistics we've looked at. He's the last one. So let me read some comments before we go on to now having the table that compares everyone, all the numbers. We pick the best and now look at the profiles in terms of who will you go for. I already know you have an idea. So get involved in the comment section. Who will you go for? Given a budget, who will you go for before we look at the final numbers? So let me read some of the comments. Wharton, guys, I've said Wharton. I haven't added him to the list. I'll probably do another series, part 2 of this, comparing some of the names that have been linked to United but not heavily linked. For example, Joao Gomez has been linked. We have other players in why am I forgetting the names now? Why am I forgetting the names? Wharton, Stiller. I can also do that, but for this one, two major or important aspects I considered while doing this. PL proven, heavily linked by United. So I'm seeing a lot of comments asking for Wharton, asking for Stiller. I'll do it. Trust me, I'll do it. I will do it. So let me read some of the comments and then we go on to the next one. I know I've gone a bit fast because I wanted to fit everything in 1 hour. So Atonga, as I've said, press resistant. As you can see, Tonali is top in terms of press resistant, followed by Guimarães, followed by Elliot Anderson. Based on the numbers. But some numbers can lie as well. The naked eye can see. For example, you'll go to Ugarte's profile, you'll be shocked. I have something that actually will shock you. So guys, stay tuned, because I also ran numbers. I ran numbers for Ugarte, and I was shocked because I was looking for the perfect fit in that midfield, someone who can play with Kobbie Mainoo, and I was shocked. You'll be shocked. Who's the perfect fit? It might be a player that you guys have written off already. Or it might be a player that has chosen another club, So don't tune out. Stay tuned in. Big up MC George. Thanks for the gifts. Thanks for the gifts, George. MC George. Thanks for the gifts. Big up. So some comments. Let's see. Mawaristic, yeah, I think I've mentioned about Wharton. El Madrigal, you're saying, yes, if we manage to get Anderson and Wharton, we will be unstoppable. Actually, I looked at both. And El Madrigal, I would say, when it came to matching, when it came to pairing the two midfielders, for some reason, that pairing wouldn't work based on the numbers. Because Wharton is not very good defensively in terms of interceptions, in terms of duels. He's not doing really well. And based on how United play, the assumption was United are still playing 4-2-3-1 as they are currently. You would need to provide cover for someone like Adam Wharton. It's more or less the issue we are seeing with Casemiro and Kobbie. We will still have shades of similar issues when it comes to covering. Because as I've said, Elliot Anderson wants to get involved more with the ball. He wants to get more involved in that midfield. And Sangare is the one that sits. He's the one that sits and provides that positional cover. So when you have Elliot Anderson, you have Wharton, you'd have to tell one of them to take up that role, unless the coach decides to come up with a tactic that will mitigate those risks. Because one of the issues United have at the moment is Kobbie likes the ball. Casemiro likes the ball, that he's good at interception. But whenever Casemiro takes up the role of interception, Kobbie has not been doing a good job in terms of sticking in defensive positions because he likes the ball. So a couple of times, even if you watch games, both of them find themselves going for the press, going for the tackle, going for the zonal marking, or going to a zone. So that leaves a gap in midfield. So looking at that midfield pairing, you need to sort out the tactical aspect as well as the profile. And one of my worries with United is, as much as they are using data, they need to find the right pairing, the right mix. It might involve probably Kobbie sitting out in some games or most of the games until he matures, or it might entail getting someone that can play with Kobbie and cover a lot of defensive ground, because Kobbie performs well when you ask him not to defend as much. He can defend. We've seen him defend, but that's not his strength. That's his weakness. Kobbie is weak at tackling, he's weak at falling back. Yeah. Premium life, I will. I will add Stiller, no doubt. I'll do a part 2 of this. Trust me, this research has taken me a whole day, because it's not about just having numbers. It's also about reading, understanding, also checking out how they play and understanding it. Because when you look at stats, as I've said, stats can lie. And I'm about to prove that to you, that stats can lie. I can use the numbers to build a case, and I can use a number to bring down a case. So I didn't want to just pop up numbers without full understanding of what it entails. And I might be wrong. Based on my comprehension, based on understanding. I might be wrong. I'm open to correction, you know. Let me see. Boaz, big up. Boaz, you're saying they can contact Amorim to do the CDM and DM signings. Well, he's gone. So no point of opening wounds that are healing. Boaz, there is no point of opening wounds that are healing. Yeah. Let's see. Ken, big up. I see you. MC George, you say we need the best defensive midfielder. Yes, we do. And I'm about to tell you who it is. But already you guys have an idea based on what we've just discussed. Philly, you're saying United should buy Guimarães or Elliot Anderson. Yes, I agree with you. Prescribed by nature, I like the name. Big up. I like the name. You're saying Guimarães will be a fit for us, and given our new statistics research, they can pick out. True. Very, very true. And considering that Newcastle are already used to playing that rotational sort of midfield setup, and Guimarães still has good numbers compared to Elliot Anderson, who's a specialist in terms of how he plays, then yeah, who knows? And he's at his prime, you know, and he's also cheaper than Elliot Anderson, and he can be a good stopgap. Then you're saying midfield aside, we have a left back that we haven't used and is of quality. Who's that? Let me know who it is, that left back. I'll also do comparisons of other positions. So the first one I wanted us to do is the midfield one. So now the poll is still going on. I asked on YouTube, which midfielder would you prefer? Elliot Anderson, Carlos Baleba, Sandro Tonali, and Bruno Guimarães. So Elliot Anderson has 67% of the votes. Baleba 0, Tonali 33, and Guimarães has 0. So guys, make sure you also jump over to the YouTube channel. Guys on TikTok, the link is in the description, as well as Kick and Twitch and Facebook. The link is in the description. Head over to YouTube. Make sure you also hit the subscribe button. Make sure you also like the stream and share it. Click the share button. Like, share, subscribe. Yeah. So let's move to another part that's very interesting. Finalizing the comparison of these four players. So we look at these players and we have to ask ourselves questions. And before actually I compare these players, let me see whether I can get the bios of Ugarte and Casemiro. Let me see whether I had created them. No, I had not. I think I forgot. It was part of my notes. So let's look at the player comparison then. Let's look at this. Per 90. This is player comparison per 90. So I have Casemiro, Ugarte, Elliot Anderson, Baleba, Tonali, and Guimarães. So the green ones you see are the top. Basically, number one, ranked number one, comparing the 6. The ones in red are bottom of that list. So green, number one, red, number last. I hope that's clear, guys. So looking at those numbers, some of them are close, some of them are not. And I said I will shock you. I will shock you that United already have a player written off that's actually good. And I'm sure a lot of you won't agree with that. And I also did not agree with these stats. And I said I will prove that stats can lie based on eye tests. So look at Ugarte's numbers. He has played fewer games, fewer minutes, but look at his numbers in terms of defensive aspects of the game. So you look at the attacking, he has 0. But you look at defensive contributions per 90, it's 9.10. So basically it means out of 10 tackles that Ugarte goes for, he gets 9. He loses 1. But now where the issue is the passing accuracy. So I want to open up my notes. I actually made some notes so that I don't forget. So when you look at Ugarte will win you the ball. But in terms of controlling the play, he can't do it. So he's purely a destroyer. And a couple of times I've mentioned that in the streams. The expectations of fans, now the eye tests. The eye test is we want Ugarte to perform like Elliot Anderson. He has 5.58 defensive contributions per game. He wins 8 duels, 8.24 duels. So out of 10 duels he goes, one-on-ones, he will win 8. Similar to Ugarte. One-on-ones, he will win 8. Defensive contributions, half of Ugarte's numbers. So we want Ugarte to perform like Elliot Anderson. But you look at Ugarte's numbers, he's purely a destroyer. The all-rounded midfielders we can see here are Elliot Anderson and Guimarães, looking at their numbers. So looking at Casemiro, United are looking at replacing Casemiro with someone who's similar to him or better than him. So you look at Casemiro, in terms of goal contributions, he has 9. Bruno Guimarães has 13. Followed by Elliot Anderson at 4. So if you're looking for a midfielder who will also be influential in the opponent's box, in the opponent's third, Guimarães is the one you go for. Now, looking at Casemiro's passing accuracy is he completes 45.6. His volume of passes. I want to make this clear because it might be a bit confusing. Looking at 45 and then you're wondering what the percentage is. So the numbers you're seeing there, the decimal, the digits, the 45, the 43, the 55, the 33, that is the volume of passes completed. So you look at Casemiro, he has 45.65 passes completed per game with an efficiency of 81.0. That's elite level. You look at Ugarte. That's why I said it might be confusing. The volume is less. He completes 43 passes in a game. But in those 43 passes, the efficiency is 84.8. So looking at that, it can tell you that Ugarte is someone who really does not look at influencing play in terms of getting involved, getting the ball, and passing it. And the volume can also be misleading because some passes are short passes, like 2-3 yard passes. So I wanted to make that clear because I've just said Casemiro is a destroyer. Ugarte is a destroyer and not really someone who controls midfield. But when it comes to his efficiency, he's pretty good. He's pretty good. Now, Casemiro, his defensive contributions are 6.75 per game. You look at his tackles, is 2.98. That's close to 3. Duels won, 6.29, with an efficiency of 51.2. Again, volume versus efficiency. I hope that's clear. Don't get confused. So the volume is the number of duels he wins per 90 minutes. And then 51.2 is the efficiency. How effective is he in his duels? So overall, 51.2%. So you look at the rating, the Who Scored rating, 7.02, which is a very, very high rating. It's a high rating. You look at Ugarte, 0 GS, has 43.1, 84% efficiency. Defensive contributions, 9. That tells you Ugarte loves tackling. Ugarte loves getting involved in those tackles. He likes getting stuck into the mix of tackling. He likes winning the ball back. But now when it comes to him influencing play, for example, when United have possession, he's not good at it. You can see at his passing volume, his passing accuracy, because he only completes 43 passes per game with an efficiency of 84.8. You look at his tackles, he's really, really good. He's top. He's in the 95th percentile. He's an elite level tackler. He's an elite level disruptor, destroyer in that midfield. But now someone like Ugarte, you need to pair him with someone like Guimarães, Tonali, or Elliot Anderson. But having him with someone else, we look at why it's not working when you pair him with someone else. You look at his duels, 8.19, which is high. Again, he likes putting tackles in. His rating is low, 6.37. But FOTMob has given him a rating of 7. I think 7.02 if I remember correctly. Look at Elliot Anderson, more appearances, 4 goals and assists, 2 goals, 2 assists. But his passing accuracy, he's the best. Now, I want you to look at his numbers. The volume, 55.7. So that tells you that Elliot Anderson, let me read what I wrote about him. I actually made a note about him. Elliot Anderson is on the ball more than anyone else. Bruno Guimarães is on the ball, however, fewer times than Elliot Anderson, but he's cleaner with it. So you look at his efficiency, 86.5. He's tidier, he's cleaner with it. He makes less mistakes. He has more efficiency when he has the ball. So when you look at that volume versus efficiency, which one will you value more? Now, a question to you as fans, as UKG followers and listeners and watchers. What would you recommend or what would you prefer? Volume versus efficiency. Will you want a player who gets involved more with the ball but has less efficiency in terms of his pass completion? Or would you want someone who doesn't get involved more with the ball but is very efficient in his passing? For example, he can get one pass, it creates a chance, or one pass bypasses the opponents and creates issues at the opponent's box. So it's a question, food for thought. Elliot Anderson, he's most involved, everything goes through him. So as I said, he's someone who wants to connect play. He wants to connect defense to midfield to attack. He wants to connect midfield to attack. He wants to get involved more with the ball. A midfield general, someone who says, I'm here, let me do the work. That's what he loves doing. And then you look at the way he controls the games through volume and presence. So the volume is 55 passes, completed passes per game, and the volume is high. You look at that volume, it's very, very high, 55. And the efficiency is also high, 85. So he's a midfield general. But you look at Bruno Guimarães, slightly lower. In terms of volume, he's down 10 points, but his efficiency is higher. So he's much cleaner in his passing, makes less mistakes. The completion rate is higher than Guimarães, so he's higher than Anderson. So he's also pretty good in terms of controlling midfield. Guimarães is slightly less involved than Anderson, but cleaner and with best accuracy. He controls games through efficiency and quality. Now, the numbers might be lower. Remember what I said about the Newcastle midfield. They keep rotating. So the numbers might be lower because Tonali, as you can see his numbers there, Tonali has a volume of 46.65. So it's good distribution. You look at Joe Linton's numbers, he's also in that 45 to 47 range. So it means the midfield three distribute the load among themselves. But you look at his efficiency, 84.9, it's also high. It's also very, very high. Now, Anderson is a tempo controller. He controls the tempo of the game. He commands that midfield. He knows when to speed up. He knows when to slow down. He can control that midfield. And that's a sort of profile United have been lacking for a very long time since Carrick left. Not Scholes, Carrick. Because Carrick, most of the time, was the one who was controlling the tempo of the game. Then you look at Anderson. He's touch heavy and always available. So touch heavy means like his first touch can run away from him, which can take the ball back to the opponents. But he is always available. So you look at situation like when United are playing, most of the time the midfielders are not available for the pass. But Elliot Anderson will always be there. Or when the defense is looking for someone who can take the ball out of defense, take it forward, Elliot Anderson will avail himself. And we've seen that whenever he plays for Nottingham. But now Bruno is cleaner in how he does it. He makes less mistakes. The ball sticks to his feet and he passes cleanly. He likes playing clean. Yes, we know that he's a tough tackler, but when it comes to releasing the ball, he's much neater than Anderson. So again, it depends on whether you control, you value volume, control volume, or control efficiency. But to me, looking at Elliot Anderson and Guimarães, they have a very good balance of both. You look at the efficiency, you look at the volume, they have a very good balance compared to someone like Baleba. Because Baleba has a volume of 33.05 and an efficiency of 85.7. So that tells you Baleba cannot control a midfield. Baleba can't control the midfield. He can't. So if United sign Baleba, then they will need to find someone who can control the midfield. And Kobbie is not yet there. So signing Baleba means you have to sign another midfielder to help him in that midfield. You look at Tonali, similar. His numbers are better than Guimarães in terms of volume, but the efficiency is lower. So you can have Tonali and Kobbie, but now the issue with Tonali is when you look at the number of defensive contributions, you look at the number of tackles, Tonali is not the person to cover defensive positions whenever Kobbie roams. But if you want to pair someone like Ugarte and someone like Tonali, it can work. It could work. Because Ugarte can destroy, Tonali is available, he wants the ball, his efficiency is okay. So that's the comparison. I hope I've explained it to the best of the ability. Desire saying, but Guimarães is older than Anderson. Yes, he is. He is. And I mentioned that when we started, and I also said, you look at the three midfielders at Newcastle, they have similar numbers, more or less. because they keep rotating, they keep covering for each other. One time, Joelinton is a CDM, Tonali and Guimarães are CMs. There's a time Tonali is a CDM, Joelinton and Guimarães CMs. Guimarães CDM, like that, like so. So the numbers, you look at the three of them, the numbers are close to are similar numbers, similar efficiency, similar volumes, because they work as a unit. But now Guimarães, who knows, probably when he gets to a midfield like the way Anderson plays in terms of having more influence and not really having the help of others, who knows, the numbers might go up. But Elliot Anderson is at the top. The numbers there can tell you. But what shocked me is you look at the greens, you look at the top rated midfielders. Ugarte has 2 greens, Elliot Anderson has 2 greens, Guimarães has 2 greens. Now, where the deviation comes is here. I found this very interesting. Sorry, I know there is information overload on this, but I'm loving this discussion. Desire, why are you laughing at Brian? What has Brian said? Has Brian said something? Probably it's, I don't know. Probably the comment is not there. I can no longer see the comments. Probably it was blocked and I can't see it. Anyway, now what I found interesting, looking at these numbers, looking at the distribution, looking at the deviations. Let me use the word deviations. Ugarte has top numbers. Ugarte is ranked top in terms of defensive contributions tackles. So he's a destroyer. You look at Elliot Anderson, his numbers are in possession and tackling. And then you look at Guimarães, he has very good distribution from attack to defense. So look at that deviation. So Ugarte, very good at defense. Elliot Anderson, very good at possession and defense. Guimarães, very good at all of them three. So when you want to sign an all-rounded and a good all-round midfielder, Guimarães is the person you go for. But as Desire says on TikTok, he's 28. So probably are looking at having him for around 4 to 5 seasons max. If you miss out on Elliot Anderson, you can't miss out on Guimarães. You look at Tonali, his weakness is in the defensive part of the game. You look at Baleba, he has strengths defensively, but when it comes to midfield control, he's not good. Because you can see Tonali and Baleba have 3 reds. Ugarte has 1. So Ugarte is not good going forward and is not good controlling midfield. You look at also Casemiro, he's more or less like Guimarães. Actually, this proves the report that Casemiro recommended United go for Guimarães. This proves it. If you look at this chart, it proves it. Because you look at Casemiro, his distribution across the 3 areas, attack, midfield, defense, very balanced, well balanced. You look at Guimarães, the same balance is there. Attack, possession, defense. Elliot Anderson, you look at his numbers, top in terms of possession and defense. His numbers are closer to Casemiro. So in terms of an all-rounded midfielder, Elliot Anderson is also good. Very close with, not to, close with Guimarães. But now when you look at Tonali and Baleba, a lot of question marks. A lot of question marks. There are a lot of question marks. So Desire saying, no, someone say Ugarte play number 5. Well, yeah, he can. Based on those numbers you see there, like duels, defensive contributions, and tackles, he was right. He was right. Playing as a centre back, who knows? Ugarte probably will be one of the best centre backs. Yeah. So that's the chart comparing the two United midfielders and the 4 PL proven, heavily linked midfielders. So in the next, I'll do another series of the players that are not on this list, like Wharton, Stiller, and other players like Anderson, Oliveira, as well as who else? Joao Gomez. I'll do a comparison of those, similar to what I've done today. Now our time is, we are past the 1 hour. So I don't know whether I should finish or do a part of this. Should I finish or do a part 2 of this? What do you guys think? Should we finish? I think we should finish quickly. Now, a player who has caused a lot of division at United is Kobbie Mainoo. Kobbie Mainoo has caused a lot of division because guys don't really understand. Which one is it? Why didn't I name them according to... Why didn't I name them? Oh, it's supposed to be this one. Why didn't I name them according to... I have yes, there you go. Now it's popped up. So Kobbie Mainoo is a player that has caused a lot of division. And I said when we are discussing about Kobbie Mainoo, please let's put our differences aside. We are just looking at data. You might not agree with my opinion, but I'm giving my opinion based on the data. Let's discuss. No point of the platform being hostile. So you look at Kobbie Mainoo, 22 appearances, 2 GAs, and then the rating he's been given by Who Scored is 6.49. Look at his position. His primary position is a center mid, and he can play as a CDM. But his primary position at 20 years old at United is center mid. So let's look at his playing style. His height is 175. So let's look at his playing style. So Kobbie Mainoo likes to do layoffs. Like, give me, I lay it off to you, you run to it. Like, he can do a good layoff to Cunha, who's running with the ball, gets the ball from Cunha. Cunha continues running, then he passes the ball back to him. He likes to dribble. He likes to shoot from distance. We've already seen that on the goals he scored. And he likes short passes. So you look at Kobbie, it is true. Kobbie rarely has long passes. Rarely has them. He likes to play short passes, move around, get that interplay, linking play. He likes doing those, as we say locally, samosas. He likes having those ping passes. He's more like Mason Mount, because Mason Mount also likes playing those short passes, layoffs, and that. Joshua Zirkzee also does the same. He likes layoffs. He likes short passes. So this is how Kobbie plays. So keeping in mind what we've already discussed about the 4 targets, and now starting to have a look at Kobbie, you can start to have an idea of who will be a perfect fit to play with Kobbie. The assumption here is United only sign 1 midfielder, not 2, not 3, only 1. So the question is, who would be an ideal partner, an ideal partnership for Kobbie Mainoo, looking at his profile now? So looking at his strengths, what are Kobbie Mainoo's strengths? Passing. He's very good at passing. He's among the top in terms of passing attributes. His pass completion is good. His volumes are good. His efficiency is good. I didn't want to have a lot of stats because of information overload. And I wanted to fit this in 1 hour. We've already gone past 1 hour. So ball progression as a number 8 or a controller hybrid. So Kobbie can be a hybrid of a 6 and an 8. Can be a hybrid of an 8 and a 10. And it's understandable for a young player because he hasn't really been coached well under Amorim. We saw a bit of good performances under Eric Ten Hag. And Carrick, in fact, even Carrick mentioned that right now he's not really focusing on what Kobbie Mainoo can do. He just wants him to play, enjoy football and all that. And we've seen what Kobbie can do in the England setup, being paired with Jude Bellingham and Declan Rice. So that gives you an idea of the partnership based on the 4 targets, who can be a good fit for him. So he likes the ball. He has high volume of touches. He has high volume of passes and good efficiency, as I mentioned. And he's technically secure. Kobbie is press resistant. Atonga, I've also answered another question about who's press resistant. So Kobbie is press resistant. So Kobbie paired with someone like Guimarães, someone like Anderson, funny enough, paired with someone like Ugarte, it is a good fit. We are going to look at the best fit for Kobbie. Now, the weaknesses for Kobbie Mainoo. Again, please, this is based on information that's already online. It's not my opinion. So don't come at me for saying Kobbie's weaknesses. Duel winning. He rarely wins duels. So let's say it's a 1-on-1, rarely wins them. If it's a 50-50 ball, rarely wins them. Recovery, pace, and acceleration. This is something we already know. In terms of tracking back, in terms of covering ground, covering defensive places like zonal marking, he's not good at it. In the last game, the Bournemouth game, we saw Kobbie struggle tracking back, as well as the Newcastle game. Long range passing, I've already mentioned, Kobbie likes short passing. The eye test can tell you when you watch United games, you see Kobbie likes those short passes. We rarely see Kobbie do something like Bruno, where he's on the left wing, he's trying to ping a 30-yard pass to the right wing. We rarely see that from Kobbie. In fact, I can't remember seeing him doing any of the long passes. He likes playing closer to other players. And then you look at his defensive positioning, we've mentioned. A couple of times Kobbie has been off position when he's needed to defend. So that's his weaknesses. So looking at that, having that in mind, we need to ask ourselves the question, who is the perfect partner for Kobbie Mainoo? Who's the perfect partner for Kobbie Mainoo? Kobbie Mainoo can play well with current players we have and the signings that United are looking for, but two of them can't really play well with Kobbie. So who are they? Who can play well with Kobbie? Who can't? So I did a search of best pairing from third best to first best. I left out 2 players. So the 2 players I left out based on the data that can't have a good pairing with Kobbie are Sandro Tonali and Carlos Baleba. And this is why. Tonali has low duels, low tackles, and does not impact defensively. He has less impact in terms of defensive play. So pairing him with Kobbie, you are looking at a very open midfield. Tonali also does not stand out in possession either. So when you have a player who's like Kobbie, you have Kobbie Mainoo who likes playing short passes. You pair him with someone who's not a standout in terms of possession. Then you have a gap. The transition never happens, and there is risk of when there is high pressure or an overload in midfield, they will lose that ball. Why Baleba? I said two players cannot have a good partnership with Kobbie. Tonali, I've mentioned, low duels, low tackles, doesn't stand out in possession. The other player is Baleba. Why? Baleba has low involvement on the ball. Remember when we were having that discussion about player profiles and comparisons? I said Baleba does not want to get involved based on the data. He's not really involved in controlling midfield. He's not like Guimarães or Anderson, who command the ball, who tell the players, give me the ball. He tries to do something with it. Baleba doesn't do that. Also, Baleba is a ball carrier. He likes dribbling past midfield and looking for chances. The other issue about Baleba is he does not influence the games enough. So having someone like Baleba and Kobbie, you'd have a less efficient midfield. So those two, I struck them out. Now, based on that information, you already know who can pair with Kobbie. And this was shocking. Actually, I had 4. I ranked 4 of them. So at number 4, the best midfield pairing or best midfield partnership, I said I'll shock you guys. Remember, I said I'll shock you. Remember, I said that I'll shock you. So at number 4 is Ugarte and Kobbie Mainoo. When I looked at the data, when I punched the numbers, when I did the research, Kobbie Mainoo and Ugarte should be the best midfield pairing. But based on the eye test, remember I said stats sometimes lie. And remember the chart we had. Let me bring back the chart. If I bring back the chart we had, you look at Ugarte's numbers, he's very strong in defensive aspect of the game. But when it comes to attacking and possession, controlling midfield, he's not good. So coming back to this. Sorry, not that one. What did I do? It's this one. Coming back to this. At number 4, the best midfield pairing, it's Ugarte, Kobbie Mainoo. Why? Ugarte is in terms of duels, he's at elite level. He wins a lot of tackles. Sorry, guys, it's small. I'll read for you. Tackles and duels, he's very elite. Mainoo, in terms of progression and control, he's good. There is a perfect split. Ugarte wins the ball, Kobbie Mainoo uses it. On paper, it should be a perfect fit. But it is not working. Why? Problem number 1. Kobbie Mainoo is not a defensive midfielder, and Ugarte is not good at progressing play. I already mentioned that when we looked at the numbers. Kobbie Mainoo, in terms of defensive play, is not really an elite. Ugarte, when it comes to ball progression, possession, he's not an elite. So there is a mismatch. But on paper, that should be a perfect split. But it's not working. Problem number 2. Both are very active pressers of the ball, but can get bypassed and lack recovery structure. We've seen a lot of times Ugarte get bypassed, very poor at recovery, gives away the foul. We've seen Kobbie as well, slow to track back, very not good, very slow at recovery. So that's problem number 2, why it is not working. Third reason why it's not working, none of them can set the tempo of the game because they can't control midfield. Mainoo carries well. He's a good ball carrier. He's good at interplay. He's good at short passes. But he can't set the tempo while playing short passes. He's not like a Casemiro. He's not like a Guimarães, Tonali, or Anderson, because he likes short passes. Remember his profile. And then you look at Ugarte. He's also not a tempo controller. Ugarte can't control the tempo. Ugarte sometimes is erratic. He wants to win the ball and pass it or kick it. Some of his duels he's won go out for long throws, or he's fouled, or he himself fouls someone else. So that's why that midfield pairing does not work. But on paper, looking at the data, Ugarte is elite in terms of duels and tackles. Kobbie Mainoo is good. He's not elite level yet, but he's good at progression and control. And when I say control, I mean in terms of interlinking play, playing short passes, playing layoffs. But we can't have Kobbie, or we don't see Kobbie, let me say that. We don't see Kobbie controlling the game similar to Casemiro with long balls, switching play, deciding when to increase the tempo of the game, reduce it. We don't see that. So that's number 4, Ugarte and Mainoo. Now, at number 3, sorry guys. At number 3 was Mainoo and Ugarte. I didn't have 4, I had 3. At number 2, a pairing that would work with Kobbie Mainoo is Anderson. Anderson is good in terms of duels and high passing volume, because as I said, he likes controlling midfield. Mainoo can provide the technical control, so it will be a good mix. One plays layoffs, interplays, short passes. The other one has a mix of both. Short passes, long passes. Defensive attributes, very high. So they can cover for each other. So this becomes high tempo, press resistant, balanced. Atonga, I've given you another player that's press resistant, Elliot Anderson. If you want a balance next to Kobbie Mainoo, you don't pick a destroyer like Ugarte. You pick someone who can do both. That's Anderson. So that's the number 2 pairing. And I'm sure you guys are asking, why is it number 2? It's because Elliot Anderson has not fully matured in terms of his defensive positioning compared to the next one, the next midfield pairing, which is Kobbie Mainoo and Guimarães. Bruno Guimarães is elite in terms of efficiency and output. He can provide goals, he can provide the defensive cover, he can control the midfield, all rounded. Remember about what I said? His numbers are close to Casemiro in terms of distribution. The 3 aspects of the game, attack, midfield, attack, possession, defense, he has a good balance, like Casemiro. This is possession heavy and press resistant. So in case you bring a coach who likes playing possession-based football, who likes playing transitional football, this midfield can do both. Weaknesses, though, there has to be trade-offs. You've seen every midfield combination we've had has trade-offs, has weaknesses. Nothing is perfect. Both are controllers. One is controller in terms of defense, in terms of long balls, short passes, and attacking. Kobbie is a controller in terms of short passes, interlinking play with short passes, and playing layoff passes. He's also good at ball carrying, going forward, and shooting outside the box. So that tells you there is no anchor. So in some instances, you might find all of them are going forward for the attack, and we really don't have someone sticking to the defensive position. Similar to the issues, and I've mentioned it during our watch-alongs. That's the issues. So that's part of the issue we see with Casemiro and Kobbie. You find sometimes all of them are going forward. It forces the center-backs to move forward, exposes United to counter-attacks. So when both of them are playing, really there is no defensive cover. But if you look at Ugarte, he can provide that defensive cover because he likes sticking back. You look at Anderson, gets involved more with the ball, so that backline consistency, staying at the back, providing cover, he will not have that. Guimarães, the same, but slightly more efficient in terms of defensive cover than Anderson. So those are the three midfield pairings with Kobbie Mainoo. Ugarte is there, but it's not working. We've seen the problems. Anderson can work with Kobbie Mainoo, but you have to sort out tactically defensive cover. Bruno Guimarães overall is good, provides assists, provides control in midfield, long balls, can take risks in terms of long balls with transitional play, and is also good at interplay. Kobbie is also good at interplay, but with long balls, he's not good. He's not good at controlling the tempo, not good at controlling where the ball will go in terms of left wing, right wing with those long balls. So if United decide to go for one midfielder, Anderson and Ugarte and Guimarães will be a perfect pairing. But with Ugarte, he will need to improve a lot because the eye test cannot lie. What we've seen from Ugarte is not good enough. But in my opinion, I would keep Ugarte for one more season. Because if you sign someone like Guimarães can play with Ugarte. If you sign someone like Elliot Anderson can play with Ugarte. And Guimarães and Elliot Anderson will bring out the best out of Ugarte. Now, what happens in the case that United sign two? Of course, we go for the two best midfielders per our discussion. You go for Anderson, you go for Guimarães. You go for those two. Why? You will have control and intensity. They are very good at tackling. They are very good at controlling play. They are very good at creating chances. They are very good at creating assists, creating chances, providing assists, scoring goals. So you go for both of them. So you will have control and intensity. That's a proper midfield balance. So that means Kobbie Mainoo will have to start some games from the bench or miss out some games entirely. And that's why I said, please do not get agitated when I say that about Kobbie. It's just based on facts and statistics. So Guimarães and Anderson, one dictates, the other competes. So they can keep swapping. So when Elliot Anderson is dictating play, Guimarães can compete for the ball, like winning tackles, putting in aerial duels, ground duels, doing the hard work to get the ball back. Then he gives to Elliot Anderson, who now controls the pace, pings to the left, pings to the right, plays short passes, controls the midfield. When Elliot Anderson is now the one covering defensive aspects, Bruno Guimarães can control play short passes, long passes. So you have that good balance. With this, you can go to more or less what United had with Carrick and Scholes. Because Scholes could tackle. Scholes could score goals. Scholes could possess, play short passes, long passes. Carrick could also do the same. Destroy, possess, score. So these two will provide that perfect balance. They have complementary profiles. One is a technical controller, the other one is a high volume competitor. And they can keep switching those roles. There is no overlap or no redundancy. So redundancy means you don't have two Ugartes. You don't have two Mainoos. You don't have two Casemiros. You have one that can pick either role. So that will be, in my opinion, that will be a perfect midfield for even a coach like Luis Enrique. Because they are combative, they have Premier League experience. One is young, one is old. And it's a good mix. It's a really, really good mix. It's a very, very good mix. Yeah, so it was a long live. I wanted to go through that because United are looking for midfielders. There has been a lot of debate on who's best. Actually, when I looked at that data, I'll admit I was wrong in most of my opinions. I was really, really wrong in most of my opinions because most of the time, looking at Elliot Anderson, in my view, I I saw him as a Kobbie Mainoo replacement, or a Kobbie Mainoo kind of player, or a Bruno Fernandes kind of player, similar to Wharton. That's my view of Wharton, and I'll go and look at his data. I also looked at their heat maps, all 4 of them, and pretty much the same heat maps as Casemiro. The only exception was Baleba. Baleba's heat map was more like Kobbie's, because Baleba can be a good box-to-box. So if you pair, let's say, Baleba and Anderson, or Baleba and Guimarães, it will be a good fit. Or Tonali and Guimarães, Tonali and Elliot Anderson, Tonali and Ugarte, that will be a good mix based on the distribution. So, yeah, I think that's it for tonight. I don't have any other thing to add. So let's just go to the just chatting section, read the comments, and see what your thoughts are. See what your thoughts are. So in my view, if possible, United should go for Elliot Anderson and Guimarães. Those 2 will also help players like Sekou Kone, players like Kobbie Mainoo to play well. And when I was looking at that midfield pairing, I did a research on, in case Bruno gets injured, how can United sort it out, considering that United are not really going for a number 10 for Bruno's cover, or if Bruno leaves, who can come? There are, of course, reports about Morgan Gibbs-White. And when I looked at internal players, the players currently at United, and I looked at players that United can sign, if you go for Guimarães and Elliot Anderson, you'd have a proper midfield mix. For example, you can have Elliot Anderson, Guimarães, and Kobbie Mainoo as the midfield 3. So Kobbie Mainoo can play as a 10, Elliot Anderson and Guimarães behind him. And that will provide good cover, good balance, because there is a time Kobbie Mainoo can play as a CM, Anderson goes to CAM, and vice versa. And with those 3, you can easily play a 4-3-3. With those 3. That is assuming Bruno is not available for one reason or the other. If Sekou Kone comes in, he will have 3 good midfielders he can learn from. He will learn from Kobbie, he will learn from Guimarães, he will learn from Anderson. That would be my preference, given a budget and the players do accept to come to United. That would be my preference. Yeah, so it's been a long one. No comments coming through. So I'll also do a series. I'll also do another deep dive for the players that I haven't highlighted today. Like, why do I keep forgetting names? Stiller, Wharton, Joe Gomez, Anderson Oliveira. So I'll do all of those. So any comments, questions, queries, any opinions based on that? Nice deep dive before we end the show. So the votes seems Elliot Anderson at number 1, Sandro Tonali at number 2, based on the votes. You guys have voted, you guys have selected. You'd go for a mix of Elliot Anderson and Sandro Tonali. And I respect your opinion. Guys. I truly respect your opinion. So yeah, that's it. Let's see. Liquidator, you're saying, in that we are having Champions League matches, what is the number of signings we need to match the? I think it's been cut out. To match the what? Let me assume you're saying to match the competition. Realistically, United need 8 signings. 8 signings. United need a CM, CDM, left back, right back, center back, goalkeeper, striker, left wing, right wing. Actually 9. But right wing we can leave out because at least Mbumo and Ahmad are there, but 8. So CM, CDM, we need a left back, right back, backup goalkeeper, backup striker, Then a center back, or have I mentioned a center back again? Okay, let me start. So I'll start from the top. So United need a second striker. United need a left winger. They need a CM, a CDM, a left back, a right back, a backup goalkeeper, and a center back to realistically be a competitive team in the Champions League. So 8 players. 8 players. 8 players are needed. Liquidator. Yeah, competition, yes. Yeah, so in my view, United need 8. 8. Because Mbumo as a 9, it's not working. Let's just be honest. It's not working. Probably in the Champions League it might. But realistically, if United need to compete at all fronts, United need at least 2 good players in every position. Because Dogu, we don't really know what the plan will be with Dogu, especially with the new manager or even Carrick if he stays. We don't know whether he will be a left winger or he will be a left back or even a right back. We don't know whether Mazraoui will still be at the club. We don't know whether De Ligt will still be at the club. Of course, Bayandia will be sold. Heaton is already old. Vitek will come in. The reports are saying Vitek will come in, but United still need an experienced goalkeeper. You look at Sheshko, in case he gets injured, what really happens? You look at that midfield as it is, the midfield needs at least 3 players. United might go for 2, but that midfield needs 3. We don't really have a good squad. I keep saying half of the registered squad in the Premier League, half of it are defensive players. We can't afford that. We can't depend on Zaxi. I'm sure he'll be sold. We can't depend on Mount. He's injury prone. We can't depend on Martinez, another one who's riddled with injuries. De Ligt, we don't know what's happening with De Ligt. And based on United's new CEO mandate or philosophy, they are going to give you 2 seasons. If you don't improve in 2 seasons, you'll be sold. So 8. But financial fair play will allow that. It will force us to sell more talent. Not really, because United will be in a very strong FFP position next year. Revenues are still coming in. The loan is not part of financial fair play. The loan is not part of it. Don't count the loan as part of FFP or PSR. PSR is ending. PSR is coming to a close this year. Next year, they are going to the SCR regulations, squad cost ratio. There is a whole live I did on that. So based on the SCR, United will be able to spend more. FFP is less strict than PSR. The financial fair play rules, I think they allow up to 85%. PSR is very strict. So United will be in a very good position next year, considering that huge wages are being let go. United will get rid of huge wages. Casemiro, huge wage. Onana, huge wage. Possibly Rashford, huge wage. Then we have Sancho, huge wage. So you look at all those players leaving, they will free up a huge amount. I saw a report that Manchester United might free up 20 million pounds per year on wages. And that's already good with FFP and SCR. So United still are raking in revenues. It's just that the cash flow is not enough because of the loan. Because the way the FFP rules work is you cannot spend more than you earn. So if United are getting profits of 600 and something million pounds a year, they can't spend 800 on player wages, signing players, agent fees, all that. So if United are raking in 600, they can easily spend 300 or 400 because they are bringing in a lot of revenue. The reason as to why teams like Newcastle, Nottingham were having issues is because they are spending more than their revenue. When you spend more than your revenue, then you'll definitely be in trouble. So next year, United will be in a very good position in terms of financial rules, whether it's FFP, whether it's SCR. In fact, SCR will help United more than FFP. Than FFP. So Toby Collier, we are not sure whether he will still be at the club next year because he's young. He started getting injuries. He's gotten 2 major injuries so far this year. And who knows, United might cash in on him. Because it will be pure profit. Also, United might decide to keep him. So on Toby Collier, we really don't know what will happen. A few days ago, I tried to find out about him, and nothing much. And United right now are in a position where you either risk spending on already proven players or you risk playing your academy graduates. So what are we looking at when you're risking both? When you risk on academy graduates, it means you'll have to be patient. You'll need to be very, very patient with the kids. So when you're playing Fletcher, Toby Collier, you can't expect them to compete with City, Liverpool, and Arsenal for the title. You'd have to be very patient with them. You have to be very patient with the team. When you risk spending on players, you can have short-term success, and then you can be able to bring up the Toby Colliers, the Corners, the Chidos, so that they face out these experienced players you've bought. So which one will you choose? To have short-term success as you're building the long-term, or do away with the spending the short-term and just trust the youth and build with them, which might take 3-4 seasons for you to start having a very competitive squad. Because you look at how Barcelona handle their issues. Barcelona are going for free transfers that are experienced players like Lewandowski, Olmo. They were going for such kind of transfers. Some of them were expensive, they couldn't sign, but you look at how they signed. Juventus also did the same. Juventus, when they were struggling financially, they were going for players that are out of contract. They're in their 30s. They have 2 to 3 seasons they can play. And then they had short-term success as they were bringing in young players into the squad. Pogba came into there. So they had young players coming into the squad as they had experienced players to give them short-term success in terms of competing for the league and winning the league. So Barcelona also did the same, and right now they are back to their levels. The young players have come into the club and they are winning titles. So probably that's the sort of model United will take. Get some experienced players, even the Guimarães one that a lot of fans are saying is old. Get Guimarães. He will help Kobbie, he will help Kone, he will help Collier, he will help the Fletcher twins. So by the time Guimarães is retiring or he's aging, the young players, the pressure is not so much of them and they've matured. Yeah. Good evening to you, Giluamo. I hope I haven't butchered your name. What did you miss? You've missed a lot. Actually, we are just ending the show. You've missed a lot. So what I will advise is go to the description, click on that link, go watch the full video. We did a whole analysis of who will be the best fit for United's midfield. Who will be the best fit? Yeah, so thanks, guys. Time to end the live. Tomorrow I'll also be live. I'll try to see whether I can do the other midfield targets or other targets like left wingers. There are a couple of left wingers that have been linked to United. So Liquidator, not so much on the next coach. Not so much on the next coach. It's still speculation as of now, but it seems it's a race between Carrick, Enrique, and Nagelsmann. But Enrique and Nagelsmann, nothing concrete. Nothing concrete. So guys, till next time, till tomorrow, cheers and bye-bye.